Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to the Everything is Bad New Fangled Motion Picture Show.
Hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Everything is Bad New Fangled Motion Picture Show. I am your magical host, Niall.
And I am Archmage Nolan.
They don't have archmages in Harry Potter, do they?
I don't know.
I don't think it's a thing.
Head Mudwump.
There you go.
Nolan.
And today we're going to be doing a review of Fantastic Beasts: Crimes of Grindelwald, which is a weird title.
Grindelwald.
Grindelwald. Only Dumbledore called him Grindelwald. Everyone else called him Grindelwald.
Yeah. But I think Grindelwald is more accurate.
Yeah, probably.
Because the character's like Austrian or something, or
yeah,
at least lives in Austria.
Yeah. So we're gonna be doing our normal thing where we do a spoiler-free review, and then give you a spoiler warning and go more in depth into it after that. So without further ado, I guess this movie's all right.
I enjoyed it.
I mean, it had a lot of really cool visual effects and like really neat stuff done with magic. I'm definitely for not having to hear them shout out spell names constantly.
Yeah, I think because like in the someone like bringing popcorn out there, as I recall from the books and a little bit in the movies, once you progress, eventually progress to a point where you don't have to shout the spells. In the movies, though, all the characters are still teenagers. They're still learning, so they have to shout the spells in order for the spells to work.
Kind of lame and awkward. You're like trying to have this cool, tough magic duel, and you have to keep shouting out the spells.
You know, the students are always yelling the spells, but the adult magic users never used spell or never said the spell names. They were just waved the wand and did it. And so everyone in this, though, they're all adults. They're all
right.
Professional magic users. But yeah, that's a nice thing not to have to deal with.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, they did some really cool stuff with magic in this. It kind of feels like some of it kind of felt like they looked at Doctor Strange and went, us too.
Yeah, not
to that extreme, but there were some things like
that part where this guy goes inside the wall,
into the wall. That was really cool.
That was. Yeah, they did some really cool effects with the magic and did some cool stuff. But yeah, I could see where maybe Doctor Strange was a little bit of an influence on things. One thing is, like I said it about the previous Fantastic Beasts movie, and this one I like. And the same thing goes with this. I like it better than the core Harry Potter movies.
Yeah.
I think part of that is I read the books, and so seeing a film adaptation that doesn't quite always touch on my favorite parts necessarily or whatever, or they don't do things the way I imagined when I was reading it, detracts from them a little bit maybe. That might be why, but I also like the time period that these new ones are set in. The Fantastic Beasts are set in. I like that it's a little. I'm not gonna say darker because those last Harry Potter movies are really dark, but a bit more adult in some matters, and it's like all fresh new stuff though. It's not like when you see the Harry Potter movies, you're like, well, if you've read the book, you're just seeing like this movie, which is just a rehash of stuff you've already read. Whereas this is all fresh new stuff.
Yeah.
I think that helps too. And it's kind of urban fantasy.
Yeah, so
in a lot of ways, so
yeah, I mean there were some I don't know, it's like I like the movie well enough, but like I've seen it and I kind of don't care. I don't see myself ever like seeking it out to watch it again. But I think there's just a couple of things in there that are just like didn't make sense to me. from a story standpoint, and I think that's part of it. I also just don't care for Johnny Depp in this role.
He's okay, but it's just kind of like almost every other Johnny Depp role.
Yeah, I mean it's like,
it's more subdued than Jack Sparrow, but
yeah.
like it's very much like a lot of other roles he's had.
I mean, could we get someone who looks German
Or speaks like a German? I mean, the character is
he's German.
He's German or Eastern
Germanic.
European or Germanic.
I mean, it's the wizards are long lived. He's probably from, you know, somewhere in the Holy Roman Empire, probably like Bavaria or Prussia or something. But you know, he should have an accent or something.
Not just that like weird quasi English Johnny Depp voice.
Yeah, I really think they should have gotten Michael Fassbender, because that dude looks German as hell.
Well, he is part German.
You can see someone being gay for him. Or I guess not gay for him, but you know, you can see a gay man falling for him. Yeah, he's a handsome dude.
The way Johnny Depp is made up in this, and they show like even like a younger version of him. He's not like a good-looking person.
Yeah, he's got like this weird eye thing going on, and I can't tell if it's like a David Bowie thing where one like retina is just constantly open or something, or constantly dilated. Right, that was his thing, right?
I don't.
He like got hit in the head in a fight or something, in a bar fight.
Yeah, well, there's that condition where your eyes have two different colors.
Yeah, but David Bowie's not that.
No, I know, but I mean,
it could be that. But no, something's definitely wrong with one of his eyes.
Yeah, he's just kind of weird looking. It's like it's hard to imagine Dumbledore falling in love with him.
Yeah. So I mean, like I said, I think
because when you're like when you're an evil Hitler stand-in, the only thing you got going for you is your looks.
Yeah. Yeah, like I said, I think they should have cast Michael Fassbender, because dude looks super German, because he's half German, so that makes sense. He's Michael Fassbender, so he can play literally anything.
Plus,
basically a perfect man.
And he's so charismatic, you could see people like following him.
Right, and that's the other thing is, I mean, you see Grindelwald up there being Johnny Depp, and you're just like, how does this dude have such a following? You know, so I just really don't care for Johnny Depp as Grindelwald. That being said, the rest of the casting I thought was fine.
Yeah,
I really like Eddie Redmayne. I really like the guy that cast as Newt's brother, Theseus. What's his name? Callum Turner. Because you look at the two of them next to each other on screen, and you can look at that and you go, I can really believe these two are brothers. You know, they look similar enough in the face. They have a similar body build and stuff, and so you look at them and you can go, yeah, they're brothers. I could see that.
Yeah, not like in the Sisters Brothers.
Yeah, where they found like the two most different looking people.
Right, but yeah, these two, it was really really good casting as far as just looks go. They looked like they are related. You know, maybe one takes more after one parent or the other, but they're still look close enough that you could see them actually being brothers.
Yeah.
And then my favorite character returning, Jacob, who is
who's that dude from
Balls of Fury
and Fanboys.
Yeah, Dan Fogler.
It's a carriage house.
It's a carriage. Yeah, it's a carriage house. It's not a garage.
It's not a garage. It's a carriage house. Yeah, he was. I mean, he's the comedic relief in the movie.
Yeah,
and he does a pretty good job of it. And I mean, I think it's a pretty easy thing to write for when you have this whole magical world and you have the one guy who's not just non-magical, wasn't like a straight up muggle, had no idea of the existence of magic and stuff before the events of these movies. So I think it makes it really easy to write just sort of like this funny and whimsical sort of character as a result, you know?
Yeah, just the awe he has for all the magic stuff going on.
Yep. But yeah, it's a fun movie. I think it's definitely better than. I would agree that I think these movies are better than the original Harry Potter movies. I will say though that if you haven't seen the first Fantastic Beasts, you absolutely need to see it before seeing this, because I saw that movie and I was still confused in some parts in this. Because they're referencing.
It's been a couple years. You've only seen it once.
Yeah, I only saw it in theaters the one time, and they're talking about characters where I'm like, who was that from the previous movie, or are they introducing someone new? In a lot of places. So, there's that. That being said, there are some parts of this that are also pretty predictable. There's like one person who turns out to be evil, and it surprised literally no one in the audience.
Yeah.
But I mean, other than that, I think it's a perfectly serviceable movie.
Yeah. If you're a fan of Harry Potter, and if whatever reason you're on the fence because you're not like a big fan of Harry Potter, I'd recommend going to see it.
I will say what my biggest complaint about the story of this movie is, though. So this makes no sense to me. They were going to kill Newt Scamander because he was trying to smuggle creatures into the U.S., but they just arrest Grindelwald?
After his murders?
In the 20s? That dude would have been killed. It just doesn't make any sense that they wouldn't have given him the death penalty.
Oh, my problem with the movie is this is like really like the opening shot of the movie. I'm not going to say it's a spoiler. The subtitle says American Ministry of Magic. I'm like, wait a minute.
Yeah, wasn't it
the American Magical Congress
or something like that?
Or something along those lines.
Congress it wasn't of Magic.
Yeah, it wasn't.
Wasn't the Ministry?
It wasn't the Ministry of Magic.
America doesn't have ministries, J.K. Rowling.
And you knew this in the first movie because it wasn't the Ministry of Magic. It was the Magical Congress.
Right.
So why is it suddenly the Ministry of Magic?
Yeah.
We know you don't care about continuity after the Hermione debacle. But that's something that like should have like popped in your head when you were writing the second one, this second Fantastic Beasts movie. Like, oh yeah, I called it the Magical Congress.
Right, especially when she like had that website explaining like what her thoughts were about the background information regarding magic use in America and why things are the way they are in America versus England. That felt weird. Definitely.
Yeah. It was like it wasn't a Ministry of Magic in America before. So that I had to hang up with that. Just like a big glaring continuity error between the two movies.
But yeah, 100% the Americans would have killed him. Would have given him the death penalty somehow. I also really, really want Grindelwald to be killed, not by Dumbledore like the books said. Or they just said Dumbledore defeated him. They didn't say he killed him, right?
No, I don't think he was killed. I think he was in
See, in Azkaban or something?
No, he was in a prison in Europe because didn't Voldemort or someone go and find him in prison and seking for one of the Deathly Hallows or something?
I don't remember, man.
Because part of Grindelwald is the Deathly Hallows are a big part of his plot.
Right.
And so, as I recall, he was imprisoned in some prison in like Eastern Europe or something, and Voldemort busted him out or broke into the prison to question him about the Deathly Hallows or something like that.
Yeah,
it's been a long time.
It's been a long time since I've seen those movies or read those books.
I think that's what happened. So no, I don't think Dumbledore kills him.
Okay,
but he defeats him.
I still really want Jacob to just like pull out a .38 revolver and shoot Grindelwald, and that's how they defeat him.
I think guns could easily defeat wizards because wizards like want to not believe that muggles can do anything to harm them, and so you just shoot them.
Yeah, I mean, they have magic, but muggles have a lot of guns and a lot of tanks and fighters and.
I mean, can their magic? Are they quick enough with their magic to throw up a shield if you shoot someone? If you shoot them?
Yeah, probably not. Especially with a supersonic round, where they wouldn't even hear the shot.
Yeah,
you know. So, just saying, watch out, wizards. Got my eye on you.
We're gunning for you.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, I enjoyed the movie, and if you're at all interested, I recommend it. So spoilers now. Let's go into spoiler warning.
Okay.
So
the aura...
Grindelwald did nothing wrong, and his only crime was being right. No.
Yeah, Grindelwald had some good ideas.
Yeah, Grindelwald had some good ideas.
Just poor execution.
Yeah.
No, so I think it was a little on the nose that Grindelwald lives in a
Austrian castle.
I was like, okay, we get it. He's Hitler. He's Magic Hitler.
One of the things he's using...
Oh, man.
So this is great.
I could see that being a cartoon in Japan. Magic Hitler.
So Grindelwald has this skull that's been turned into a hookah, and he smokes it. He smokes from it and sees the future.
Yeah,
or blows out smoke, and the smoke shows the future. It's kind of cool. Anyway,
it's a pretty cool effect in the movie.
And so he's got this at the end of the movie. He's got this whole like crowd of wizards and he's uniting them against the Muggles. And to his,
it's a straight up Nazi rally.
Yeah, but his way of showing that they need to unite against the Muggles is look what's coming. And he projects this image of World War II. This is the 20s still, so World War II hasn't happened. And he projects this image of like combat in World War II,
tanks and troops running along,
and airplanes and stuff. He's saying, look what they're gonna do. How long before they turn all that on us?
Yeah. So Magic Hitler uses a war to defeat real Hitler to convince people to side with Magic Hitler.
Yeah.
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 So that's his big plan.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean,
not really a bad plan.
Not really a bad plan, no. I kind of wish that they would have, because we know Grindelwald sought the Deathly Hallows, right?
Yeah.
And I kind of
even used the Deathly Hallows symbol as his own symbol.
Right.
Because that came up in the 7th book when, as I remember at the wedding, Luna Lovegood's father had a pendant of the Deathly Hallows, and that was upsetting people because they associated that symbol with Grindelwald.
Right.
So it's kind of like if someone were walking around with a swastika.
And they were like, no, I'm Hindu.
Yeah, I'm Hindu, and this is a sacred emblem in my religion.
Right. So, yeah, I could see that causing issues. But, so we know he sought the Deathly Hallows. I kind of wish that they would have, like...
Brought them up
at some point.
So, probably in this next film. I assume it's a trilogy at this point. We know it's going to be at least one more. I think it's a trilogy.
I think it's more than that.
Oh, well, okay.
I mean, I think that it's a trilogy of movies involving like Newt Scamander and company. But I think it goes further than that. I think. I mean, then again, I haven't really been paying that much attention to it because I also kind of don't care that much about Harry Potter. So one thing I thought was weird, and I had to just infer the reasoning for this on my own from the rest of the movie, but in the beginning of the movie, the Ministry of Magic wants Newt to be an Auror really bad. to go after
Ezra Miller's character.
not Cletus, Credence.
Yeah.
All right, because you made that CCR joke in the middle of the movie, and I threatened to stab you.
Anyway,
I remember now.
And I couldn't understand why.
He's not a fighter.
Yeah, he's not a fighter. He's like, even tells him, he's like, I'm not a fighter. It's like, I'm like, why do they so desperately want him to be an Auror? And so my inference, though, because they don't ever come out and say why they particularly want him to be an Auror, because I don't think he'd make a particularly good Auror, is that he shows to be a natural tracker
and detective,
which is, similar stuff. And because he goes to a scene,
a really great dick.
Yeah.
It's the 20s, so I kept making dick jokes, but private investigator dick.
Yeah.
Get it? A little wink and nudge there.
Ministry of Wink and Nudge. Because he goes to the scene and he totally magic Sherlock Holmes the scene. Yep. And I'm like, okay, I guess that's why they wanted him to be an Auror. They never come out and expressly say it. I had to infer that. Not necessarily a bad thing that they don't say it, but anyone who's dumb enough to not infer it from that scene is still probably going, why did they want him to be an Auror?
Yeah. Yeah.
And they want him to be an Auror so bad they hold his travel visa over his head.
Right.
Because he's banned from traveling from leaving the country. And there's this scene where so why do you want to travel internationally?
They're like, why do you want us to lift the ban on you traveling internationally?
He's like, I like to travel internationally.
Yeah. So, yeah, there was just a lot of little things like that just kind of, I thought, weird or took issue with in the story.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, the biggest one is that why did Grindelwald not get the death penalty?
And then why was he extradited to England?
And why was he allowed a pet in his solitary confinement?
That too.
It kind of defeats the purpose of solitary confinement.
Yeah. The pet turns out to be very dangerous.
Who knew?
Yeah, who knew? He's allowed a pet. And then apparently there's an extradition treaty with the UK or something, because the magical Congress hands him over to the ministry.
What's really weird about that too is, so typically what happens is if someone gets arrested for crimes in a country, they serve the sentence for those crimes, and then they get extradited to serve the sentence for their crimes in whatever country they're being extradited to.
Yeah.
Right? They extradited him after 6 months. He killed people.
Yeah.
It just, none of it makes any sense. I look at that and go, this isn't how the Americans would have done it.
That's not how anyone would have done it.
That's true.
Rowling is not a legal scholar, we know that much.
Yeah. Yeah, there's just, things like that just kind of bothered me. And I'm like, this doesn't make any sense.
Okay, so should we get to, the big twist at the end?
Oh, yeah, Ezra Miller is Dumbledore's brother? Cousin?
Yeah, brother.
Dumbledore's
brother. So he has another brother. So I know there's a big deal in the 7th book and the 8th movie about Dumbledore's. He has a brother. He had a sister. Now they also have another brother.
Long lost
brother.
That felt kind of like a...
It felt ridiculous.
That, I'm not going to say Deus Ex Machina, because it's not quite the same thing, but it felt very convenient.
I will say I never expected it, because I was so who's, the whole, subplot with his characters, he's trying to figure out who he is. Who are my parents? Well, it turns out he was switched as a baby. They think he's a Lestrange, and he wasn't. And then I thought, well, are they going to retcon this and make him Voldemort or something? Except we already know Voldemort's story, and he was growing up in an orphanage before he found out that he was a magic, but who knows? Like, you know, Rowling's retconning all kinds of stuff in their books, so it wouldn't have surprised me. I'd never pegged Dumbledore's long-lost brother as his role, though. That was a surprise.
So what gets me about that, presumably whoever was traveling with him on that ship died in that lifeboat that capsized.
Yeah.
So did Dumbledore's parents die in that ship crash or whatever?
I think his I don't remember. I think his parents did die, and he and his brother were raising their sister or something.
And Dumbledore's quite a bit older than Ezra Miller's character, too.
Yeah, but wizards are long-lived, so presumably they have a longer period in which they could have kids.
I don't. It's just weird.
It is kind of weird.
Didn't care for that.
No.
But yeah, it is what it is. Yeah, it's just like everything to do with his character was just kind of weird and didn't feel very well fleshed out to me. I don't know, man.
Yeah.
At some point, Nagini's gotta become loyal to Voldemort.
I wonder if that's before or after she's permanently transformed into a snake.
Yeah, because right now she's 100% against these evil wizards.
Yeah, and I'm trying to think of the time frame. Is Voldemort attending Hogwarts at this point?
I don't know.
Tom
Riddle? I don't remember.
I don't know when he attended Hogwarts, or if he's I don't even remember. I think that would have been kind of interesting if he was one of Dumbledore's students in that scene in the classroom, though.
Yeah.
But I don't remember what the time frame of all that is.
Yeah. Oh man. Also, the last shot of the movie, when we were looking at one of the last shots in the movie when they're on the bridge outside of Hogwarts, and I leaned over to you and I was like, they're very clearly in front of a green screen.
Yeah, you could tell. Just the lighting wasn't quite
That
right.
is inexcusable.
There wasn't a matte line or just bad keying around them. It was a very clean key, but the lighting wasn't right.
And not just the lighting wasn't right.
It threw something off.
Focus of the background wasn't right either. It was flat. And so, in a movie that has this high of a visual effects budget and has all these
because all
crazy,
the characters,
awesome,
all the creatures and stuff looked great.
Yeah, all the creatures look great. The weird black cloths over Paris and the drowning baby, a 1920s Nirvana album cover.
Not quite, but
anyway, that all looked great. And in this scene, it was just really, really obviously green screened, and that's just unacceptable because that's not of all the visual effects things they did, that should have been the easiest.
Yeah.
So I just find it inexcusable in a movie like this. I'll forgive a lot in a movie that's not really visual effects heavy, and they need a set extension or a green screen shot here or there, and you can kind of tell. I'll forgive it in a lot of movies like that. But in something like this, there is no excuse to have such a basic visual effects shot be so obvious.
Right. And it was obvious for the wrong reasons. A lot of time it's obvious because you see a matte line or the key isn't quite right, and the actors are cut off, or you see a little bit of the screen or something. But it was a perfectly clean key. It's just the background just wasn't done right.
Yeah. So that's the only complaint I have about the visual effects in the movie.
Yeah. You brought up their missed opportunity for a joke there at the end, though.
Oh yeah, so Jacob has this sort of like wonderment about everything magic, and like he really shows his ignorance about the magic world, throughout the first movie. Not as much in this one, but he also was not as big a character in this one as he was in the first one. I just think
although he's throughout the movie. He doesn't have as many
he just doesn't,
scenes that focus on him. Right
yeah, and he just ultimately doesn't do as much for the overall story. But I think it would have been really funny when they're standing there on that bridge at the end, and there's Hogwarts Castle there. It's this huge, massive fairy tale castle. If he just like leaned over and went, "Is this where the King of Magic lives?" Like they just don't inform him about anything.
Yeah, they just drag him along where he's just like standing there in the back, because he's standing there in the background just kind of looking around like he doesn't know what to do, and he's just kind of like staring at awe at everything around him, but there's just like this row of oars in front of him just standing there like, they see Hogwarts all the time, and they did at one point, but he's just got this look on his face like, what is going on?
That it might have been just a little too much of like too joking for the end of this sequence of really dark events that led up to that point. I think it just might have been like a little too much to have a joke as like silly as that.
Yeah, I would have enjoyed
I mean, they just like fought two fire dragons, not like fire drakes, but like dragons made of fire.
Yeah,
3 of them rather, and that was all really cool. Visual effects sequence.
Yeah.
But that was at like Magic Nuremberg rally.
Also, Jacob had just lost his girlfriend,
Queenie.
Queenie, yeah, she sided with Grindelwald.
That racist bitch.
Yeah, well, because she's got this hang up, like she wants to marry him, and he's like, yeah, well, it's against the law in America, and if the Congress finds out about it, you'll be thrown in prison. So he doesn't want to risk her safety. And so Grindelwald convinces her that like, hey, in my eternal empire,
my 1,000-year
Reich, you'll be able to marry whoever you want. And so she wants to join him, and he sees the writing on the wall, and he's like, no, this guy is insane.
Like, this guy seems a lot like that Hitler guy from Germany that's spouting all that weird shit.
Yeah.
Well, that wasn't going on quite
yet.
Yeah,
no.
I mean, when in the 20s is this?
I don't know exactly. I just know it's in the 20s. I don't know what year it is.
Yeah. Well. But yeah, I mean, it's like, I mean, it's real obvious this dude's evil.
Right, and Jacob can see that, and he's trying to like stop her, like, no, and she though is so obsessed with this notion, she's snaps and is willing to like leave Jacob for this dream of being with Jacob.
Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah, so I don't know if she's redeemable at this point or not.
I still think if Jacob at any point pulled out the revolver he carries with him because he's an American,
right,
and just shot Grindelwald, because we all have guns in America. Every single person in America has a gun.
And it's not like he would have had to like check it to go to England. They like apparated there or something.
Yeah, I mean, they just give you the gun when you register to vote.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and even if he did like walk on, they're like, "Sir, your gun. Would you like me to check it for you?"
Yeah.
It's like, no, I'll just carry it. Oh, very good, sir. Have a nice day.
Would you like a Marlboro when you get on the plane? Yeah. So it's I don't know.
He would probably travel by ship.
Oh yeah, this is the 20s, so they wouldn't have airplane travel yet. But yeah, still.
Yeah, although airplanes exist, they're not.
Yeah, they're not passenger planes yet. Not like that. So yeah, it's. I don't know. There's a lot of like I said. There's a lot of like little things that I'm like, this doesn't quite make sense, or I don't think they thought this one out fully. But yeah, I mean, otherwise, like I said, it's.
Well, one thing is kind of like weird to me is just the callous use of Avada Kedavra, the Killing Curse, by an Auror.
He'd think he was an American or something.
Well, no, see, the one I understand when I later realized, like, no, his intent was to kill that woman, and he is a Grindelwald follower.
Right.
But the other one, who's like, when a witch pulls her wand on him, and he like reacts with a counterspell, you'd think it would have been like the disarming spell or something, but no, he just flat out kills this woman.
Yeah. Like I said, you'd think he was an American or something.
Yeah.
An American cop.
Las Vegas cop.
A Las Vegas cop. Metro. Alright, so yeah. That's pretty much I think what we got for Crimes of Grindelwald.
Or Grindelwald.
Grindelwald.
As Dumbledore pronounces it.
And he's the only one who does. He's the only one who pronounces it that way in the whole movie. So next weekend's Thanksgiving weekend. Which is, it's fortunate it's a 4-day weekend, because there's 4 freaking movies coming out next week. Jeez, Nolan. We're not gonna have time for anything.
No, not really.
We're not gonna have time for eating pie and putting up the Christmas tree. We got all these movies to see.
It's only a couple hours a day.
Alright, so we got Ralph Breaks the Internet, which my prediction right now is bad movie. It's got a 70 Metascore on IMDb right now, but I mean, because there's no user review, or not user reviews, but like
user reviews.
It's weird because it's not like you're a user of the product of a movie. You know, it's like, yeah, non-critic reviews.
Yeah, but don't they call them user reviews on IMDb?
Yeah, I don't know. It's just weird terminology to me. Anyway, but yeah, so it doesn't have any of those reviews in yet because no one, it's not out for consumers yet. For the general masses. And I think once, a bunch of millennials go see that movie, that score is going to go down because just looking at the trailers, they don't get internet culture, clearly. So I'm calling it right now that is going to be a bad movie. If you're in any way well-versed in internet culture and whatnot. But there's Creed 2, which looks like a better movie, if unnecessary.
Creed? I think that's probably the one we should see on Thanksgiving, because
that'll be
the rents don't care about seeing it.
Yeah,
so we could see that during the day and then go over.
Yeah, and that'll be the one that will probably have the least families at it.
Yeah.
Right? That or Green Book, maybe.
Yeah.
So that's also next weekend. That's that movie starring Viggo Mortensen and Mahershala Ali, whose name I'm pretty confident I butcher regularly. The guy who played Cottonmouth in Cage, or in Luke Cage. I don't want to keep just calling it Cage.
I don't know.
I think because the comics, like one of the more recent runs of the comics, was just called Cage.
Yeah.
I think that might be why in my mind I keep calling it that. And then also Robin Hood.
That Gendy Tartakovsky one?
Yeah, that one was a great comic. And then Robin Hood, starring Taron Egerton and Jamie Foxx. And that's the one that seems like if they were to make a Robin Hood movie set in the same universe as that Guy Ritchie King Arthur movie, it would be this.
Yep.
So we got all that next week. All of them are over 2 hours or almost 2 hours, by the way.
Okay.
So there's that too. They're also all long movies.
Well, this was a long movie.
Yeah, it was.
It was like 2 hours 15, something like that.
Yeah, it was pretty long.
And so was Bohemian Rhapsody.
Yeah, it was longer than I wanted it to be. Because the longer this movie was, the longer it kept me from playing Fallout.
Oh, poor Boo Boo.
Yep. And then so December, First weekend, the only thing that we have any interest in is Mary Queen of Scots. And that's going to be something like, you know, if we're not doing anything on that Saturday or something, I think.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think we're going to like, go out of our way to see it. Like we did Crimes of Grindelwald. And then Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse looks really cool. The Mule, definitely want to see because, I mean, it's got Bradley Cooper and Clint Eastwood in it. What's not to like? And Michael Pena. What's not to like about that cast? And it's directed by Clint Eastwood. So, I think it'll be really cool. And then there's Mortal Engines, which looks weird, but really interesting. That's all in the same week. And then Kill Me Now, Aquaman comes out the week of Christmas, or the week before Christmas.
Bumblebee.
And Bumblebee looks pretty cool. Aquaman looks terrible. Mary Poppins is a resounding meh. And then to finish off the year, Vice looks like is going to be the last movie we see of 2018. I think.
Yeah, probably.
So unless we have are unable to catch one of the 3 other movies. All right, so we have to see Aquaman first just to make sure that that's not the last movie we see in 2018.
Okay.
We can't have that be the what we go out on in 2018, right?
Maybe it'll be amazing.
But it won't.
Just saying. Maybe.
Yeah, and maybe I'll grow wings and learn to fly, Nolan.
Just saying.
Anyway, but that's what we got coming up through the end of the year, so you know, I'd say subscribe, but I don't think YouTube cares about your subscriptions anymore, judging by the fact that I don't get notifications from any of my any of the channels I subscribe to anymore. So subscribe if you wanna.
I get notifications from like 1.
Yeah.
And it's not every video either. It's like once a week. And they put out like a few videos a week.
Yeah. So, you know, subscribe if you wanna, or just know to come back on the weekends, because that's when we see movies. And that's when we will post movie reviews.
Ring that notification bell.
Yeah. Yeah, check out our other reviews. What was the last movie we did? What was last week?
Was it Bohemian Rhapsody?
No, it was Overlord.
No, Overlord was the last one we did.
Yeah,
but Bohemian Rhapsody was the day before, right?
Yeah, so it was Overlord, which is pretty cool. The more I think back on the Overlord, the more I like the movie. I mean, I know like it wasn't like I mean I liked the movie in the review, but I know I wasn't like, you know, the most excited for it or whatever. But the more I think about it, the more I like the movie. The more I see other people talking about and commenting on the things they liked, I'm like, oh yeah, that was pretty cool. So, yeah. You got anything else?
No.
Yeah, alright. That's all I got, so.
Just that Grindelwald had some good ideas.
Grindelwald had some good ideas, just, you know, bad PR.
Yeah. You know, Grindelwald was right.
The greatest PR stunt in history was the Austrians convincing the world that Hitler was German.
And that Grindelwald was American with a British accent.
Yeah. Oh, man. When Grindelwald made that comment of, I hate Paris, that was pretty funny.
Yeah. In case you didn't know, Johnny Depp lives in Paris.
Yeah. So that was pretty good. I liked that joke. Anyway, yeah. Till next time.
Bye.
Thanks for listening.